You've been trying to learn how to manifest, reading the books, watching the videos, searching for the secret technique that will finally unlock the life you want. But here's the truth you need to hear. You already know how to manifest. You've been doing it perfectly your entire life. Look around you right now. Your bank account, your relationships, your job, your body, the patterns that keep repeating. All of it is your manifestation, every single piece of it. You didn't fail to manifest. You manifested flawlessly. You just manifested things you didn't consciously want. This is going to be uncomfortable to accept, because it's much easier to believe you simply haven't figured out the technique yet. That manifestation is some skill you're still learning. But that's not true. You're already a master manifester. You've been creating your reality with perfect precision since the day you were born. The struggling you've experienced, you manifested it. The relationships that fell apart, you manifested them. The financial ceiling you can't seem to break, you manifested that too. Not because you wanted to suffer, but because you were unconsciously assuming the states that created exactly these results. Tonight, you're going to understand the most important thing about manifestation that almost no one teaches. You don't need to learn how to manifest. You already know. You just need to become conscious of what you've been manifesting unconsciously and redirect that same flawless power toward what you actually want. Because the power was never the problem. The direction was. Here's what most people get wrong about manifestation. They think it's something you do, a practice, a choice, an activity you engage in when you want to create something. But manifestation isn't optional. It's not something you turn on and off. It's happening constantly, whether you're aware of it or not. Every moment of every day, your consciousness is creating your reality. You're always assuming something, always occupying some state, always holding some dominant feeling about yourself and life. And whatever you're assuming is what you're manifesting, right now, continuously, without pause. This is why you can't escape manifestation. You can only do it consciously or unconsciously. And most people do it unconsciously. They drift through life assuming whatever their circumstances suggest, feeling whatever their environment triggers, and then experiencing the perfect reflection of those unconscious assumptions. You're like someone who's been driving a car their whole life without realizing they're the one steering. You've been turning the wheel this whole time. You just thought the car was driving itself. And so you've ended up at destinations you never consciously chose, wondering how you got there. But you were always driving. You always had your hands on the wheel. And the moment you realize this, you can finally start steering with intention toward the destinations you actually want, instead of the ones you accidentally kept choosing. Want proof that you're already a master manifester? Look at your life. It's the perfect evidence. Every detail of your current reality matches some assumption you've been holding. Not random, not unfair, perfectly matched. If you keep ending up broke, look at what you've been unconsciously assuming about money. Probably something like money is hard, or there's never enough, or people like me don't get wealthy. And your reality has been confirming those assumptions with perfect precision. If you keep ending up in the same kind of relationships, look at what you've been unconsciously assuming about love. Maybe love doesn't last for me, or I always get hurt, or I'm too much for people. And your reality has been faithfully reflecting those beliefs back to you. This isn't comfortable to look at, because it means you've been the source of your struggles, but it's also the most empowering realization possible, because if your assumptions created the life you don't want, then new assumptions can create the life you do want. Your life is a feedback system. It's showing you with perfect accuracy what you've been assuming. And once you learn to read it, you can use it as a guide. Whatever you don't like in your reality is just revealing an assumption you need to change. The evidence is everywhere. And it's all pointing back to the same truth. You've been manifesting masterfully the entire time, just not consciously. So what are these unconscious assumptions that have been creating your reality? They're the beliefs you hold so deeply you don't even recognize them as beliefs. You think they're just facts about life. Money is hard to come by. You don't experience this as an assumption. You experience it as obvious truth. But it's not truth, it's an assumption, and it's been faithfully manifesting financial difficulty your whole life. Good things don't happen to people like me. Again, this doesn't feel like a belief. It feels like realism, but it's an assumption, and it's been manifesting a life where good things consistently pass you by. I always have to struggle for everything. This feels like a description of your experience. But it's actually the cause of your experience. The assumption came first. The struggle followed. These unconscious assumptions are the most powerful forces in your life because you don't question them. You don't even notice them. They run in the background, shaping everything, while you consciously try to manifest something different. This is why conscious manifestation so often fails. You spend 15 minutes visualizing wealth while carrying a lifetime of unconscious assumptions about lack. And the unconscious assumptions win every time because they're operating constantly while your conscious effort is occasional. To change your reality, you have to bring these unconscious assumptions into the light. You have to find them, recognize them as assumptions rather than facts, and consciously replace them, because as long as they run unexamined, they'll keep manifesting the life you don't want. Here's a reframe that will change how you see your entire life. You didn't fail at manifestation. You succeeded perfectly. The struggling, the disappointments, the patterns that keep repeating, you manifested all of it with flawless precision. Your consciousness took your assumptions and created an exact match in your physical reality. That's not failure. That's mastery. Think about it. If you can manifest a life of struggle so consistently, so precisely, so perfectly that it keeps showing up year after year, then your manifestation ability is extraordinary. You're not bad at this. You're incredibly good at it. You've just been using your power in a direction you didn't consciously choose. This reframe matters because it removes the self-doubt that keeps people stuck. You don't need to wonder if manifestation works for you. It's been working perfectly your whole life. You don't need to wonder if you're capable of creating your reality. You've been doing it masterfully since birth. The only thing you need to change is the direction. Take that same flawless manifestation ability that created your current struggles and point it toward what you actually want. Same power, same precision, same mastery, just aimed at a different target. You're not a beginner who needs to learn manifestation. You're a master who needs to redirect it. And that's a much easier task than starting from scratch because you already have all the skill. You just need to use it consciously. You might be wondering, if I'm such a master manifestor, why do the negative things seem to manifest so easily while the positive things are so hard? Here's the answer. The negative things aren't manifesting easier. They're just manifesting from your unconscious assumptions, which run constantly. When you fear something, you're assuming it, and fear is a powerful, sustained, deeply felt assumption. When you worry about money, you're holding the felt state of lack with conviction. When you anticipate rejection, you're occupying that state vividly and emotionally. The negative manifests easily because you commit to it so fully. You don't doubt your fears. You don't question your worries. You feel them with total conviction. And consciousness responds to that conviction by manifesting exactly what you've been feeling. Meanwhile, when you try to manifest the positive, you do it half-heartedly. You imagine wealth for a moment, then doubt it. You feel love briefly, then question it. You give your positive desires a fraction of the conviction you give your fears. This is the entire problem. You're a master at manifesting what you fear because you believe in your fears completely. You're a beginner at manifesting what you want because you barely believe in your desires at all. The fix is simple, even if it's not easy. Give your desires the same conviction you've been giving your fears. Feel your wanted outcomes as fully as you've been feeling your unwanted ones. Commit to your dreams the way you've unconsciously been committing to your worries. When you do that, the positive will manifest just as easily as the negative has, because the power was never different, only your conviction was. Most people manifest by default. They let their circumstances dictate their assumptions, which then create more of the same circumstances. They see a low bank account, so they assume lack, which manifests more lack. They experience loneliness, so they assume they're unlovable, which manifests more loneliness. They face a setback, so they assume they're not capable, which manifests more setbacks. This is manifesting by default. Letting your reality program your assumptions, which then reinforce that same reality. It's a closed loop, and it's why people stay stuck in the same patterns for decades. To break out of this loop, you have to stop letting your circumstances dictate your assumptions. You have to start choosing your assumptions deliberately, regardless of what your circumstances show. This is the shift from unconscious to conscious manifestation. Instead of seeing lack and assuming lack, you see lack and deliberately assume abundance. Instead of experiencing loneliness and assuming you're unlovable, you experience loneliness and deliberately assume you're deeply loved. This feels strange at first. It feels like lying to yourself because you're assuming something that contradicts your visible evidence. But remember, the visible evidence is just the manifestation of your old assumptions. To create new evidence, you have to assume something new first. Stop manifesting by default. Start manifesting by decision. Choose your assumptions consciously, hold them regardless of circumstances, and watch as your reality slowly reorganizes to match your new deliberate choices instead of your old automatic ones. Here's the beautiful thing about realizing you're already a master manifester. You don't have to develop a new ability. You just have to redirect the one you already have. The same imagination that's been creating your worst-case scenarios can create your best-case scenarios. The same feeling capacity that's been generating fear can generate confidence. The same consciousness that's been manifesting struggle can manifest ease. Same power, different direction. When you catch yourself imagining something going wrong, recognize that as your manifestation power in action just pointed the wrong way, and then deliberately redirect it. Imagine it going right instead, with the same vividness, the same conviction, the same emotional investment. When you notice yourself assuming the worst, recognize that as the same creative force that could be assuming the best, and consciously turn it around. Same energy, different target. This redirection is the entire practice. You're not trying to develop manifestation skills you don't have. You're taking the powerful skills you've been using unconsciously and aiming them deliberately at what you want. Every time you redirect a fearful thought into a confident one, you're using your manifestation power consciously. Every time you turn an assumption of lack into an assumption of abundance, you're steering the car you've always been driving. And the more you do this, the more your reality starts matching your conscious choices instead of your unconscious defaults. To redirect your manifestation power, you first have to become aware of what you've been doing unconsciously. And the best place to start is your inner conversations. All day long, you're talking to yourself, commenting on your life, predicting outcomes, interpreting events, reacting to circumstances, and every one of these inner conversations is a manifestation in progress. When you think this is never going to work, you're manifesting failure. When you think I can't afford this, you're manifesting lack. When you think nobody really cares about me, you're manifesting isolation. Most people have no idea how negative their inner conversations are. They run on autopilot, reinforcing all the old unconscious assumptions, manifesting more of the same all day long. So start listening. Become aware of what you're actually saying to yourself throughout the day. You'll probably be shocked at how much of it confirms exactly the reality you don't want, and then start redirecting. When you catch a negative inner conversation, consciously shift it, not by forcing positivity, but by choosing the inner conversation that a person who already has what you want would have. This is working out. I always have enough. People are drawn to me. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about deliberately choosing your inner conversations instead of letting them run unconsciously. Because those conversations are manifesting your reality, whether you choose them or not. You might as well choose the ones that create what you actually want. Here's a way to make peace with all the things you manifested that you didn't want. The past was practice. Every unwanted thing you created was you developing your manifestation muscle. You were learning, through experience, just how powerful your consciousness is. You were proving, over and over, that whatever you assume becomes your reality. You don't have to regret it. You don't have to beat yourself up over the years you spent manifesting struggle, because that struggle taught you something invaluable, that you have the power to create your reality. You just demonstrated it in the wrong direction. Now you know. Now you've seen the proof of your own power, and you can take everything you learned from years of unconscious manifestation and apply it consciously. You learned how conviction creates. You felt your fears so completely they manifested. Now you know to feel your desires that completely. You learned how assumptions become reality. You assumed lack and got lack. Now you know to assume abundance and get abundance. The past wasn't wasted. It was your training. It taught you the mechanics of manifestation through direct experience, and now you get to use that knowledge deliberately to create the life you actually want. So release the regret. Honor the past as the practice that revealed your power, and turn that power, finally, toward what you've always wanted. So here's where we land tonight. You've been manifesting your entire life, perfectly, masterfully, without pause. You just haven't been doing it consciously. Every circumstance you've experienced, every pattern that's repeated, every outcome that's shown up, you created all of it through your assumptions, your inner conversations, your dominant states, not as a failure, as a perfect demonstration of your creative power. And now you know. Now you understand that you're the one who's been driving this whole time, which means you can finally start steering with intention. So tonight, take the wheel, consciously. Start watching what you assume. Start listening to your inner conversations. Start noticing the dominant feelings you carry through your days, and start deliberately choosing them, pointing your flawless manifestation power toward what you actually want. When you catch yourself manifesting lack, redirect to abundance. When you catch yourself assuming the worst, deliberately assume the best. When you notice a negative inner conversation, consciously choose the conversation of someone who already has what you want. You don't need to become a better manifestor. You already are a master. You just need to become a conscious one, a deliberate one who chooses their creations instead of letting them happen by default. The power has always been yours. The skill has always been there. You've been proving it your whole life with everything you've created, wanted and unwanted alike. Now, finally, you get to use that power on purpose, to create the wealth, the love, the success, the freedom you've always wanted. Not by learning something new, but by consciously directing what you've always been able to do. You are already manifesting. Tonight, you start manifesting what you actually want. Take the wheel and drive toward the life you've always deserved to live. You've been manifesting masterfully your whole life. Tonight, you stop doing it by accident and start doing it on purpose. Take the wheel and create the life you actually want.